What's going on, Fresh Start Live? Thank you all for tuning in. We're going to give you a little bit of time to tune in. Make sure you're liking, you're sharing. Let us know in the comment section that you are here. Man, I feel like we haven't seen our youth members in a long time. It's been like, what, 4 months, 5?
It's been forever, and hopefully very soon we will be seeing you guys again here in the youth service. But for right now, I encourage you guys to come on Sundays. Our doors are open. We are ready to see you guys again.
Yeah, I feel like we missed each and every one of you guys. We missed your faces. You're all beautiful. You're all amazing, and we miss you guys. You know, I was talking to Areli the other day of how not normal this thing is, and I know we're getting used to the whole idea of the quarantine, and I know there's no lockdown anymore, but still, we're a little bit precautious in everywhere we go, and how, it's just not the same. Being around people, there's something different about being around in church. And I know on Wednesdays and Fridays, we're still not yet gathering. And that's because we want to take it slowly. We want to be precautious. But don't miss out on Sundays, guys.
Yes.
Sundays at 9 a.m. You don't want to miss out with an amazing word by Pastor Juan, an amazing moment of worship. Our doors are open. You don't want to miss out. It's an amazing moment.
Yeah, this past Sunday was our first Sunday back, and it was such a beautiful moment here, feeling God's presence. It was still moving. Even it was just a few of us, God's presence was so real and so amazing.
Yeah, I forgot what it's like to lead worship with people who are actually worshiping back. It's a little bit awkward talking and ministering and singing when there's only a lens, on the receiving end. But this past Sunday was a beautiful moment where we got to worship. I know it's scary out there, and I know we got to be responsible and take precautions, but we want to encourage you all and let you all know that we are following every safety protocol that is given to us by our governor, by the people of our community, and we want to make it a safe environment for each and every one of you all. We want to see you guys, and we hope we see you very soon. But today, on this Friday, for everybody who's tuning in right now, we have Pastor Alex has prepared something very special for each and every one of you all. So don't miss out. Don't get distracted.
Excited. We are so excited to see what he has new for today. He's been planning all week for this, and we're ready to see what he has prepared.
Yeah, it's going to be a blessing, guys. So don't miss out. Don't get distracted with the Netflix that's on the TV. Turn off everything. Tell your little brothers and sisters to go into a closet or something like that and tune in. You guys you don't want to miss out. Pastor Alex has been sharing with us just a little sneak peek of what's going to happen in these moments, but it's going to be a blessing. But again, guys, we miss you all. Like and comment on everything that you've been doing. This week has been an exciting week for us.
Yes, we had a great week this week.
We decided this week is like, hey, you know what? Of course, with all safety measures in mind, but we decided, hey, let's go to the beach. Let's go out there. Let's just get out because, being in the house, not doing anything can be a little bit, stressful. So we went out, we went to the beach, and we had a good time with our family and our friends, and we really enjoyed that experience. So we want to know what you're doing.
Yeah, comment what have you done this week. Like I like to tell the girls, set a goal for the week. Don't do nothing. Do something productive. So with that said, we're excited. We're ready to see what there is today. Comment what you've been doing. Keep sharing. Keep liking.
Yeah, we'll see you guys in the service. God bless you all.
Hey guys, what's up? God bless you. I hope you're having an awesome Friday evening. Okay, I'm going to give you just a couple of seconds to tune in. I hope you're doing great. I hope your family is great. I hope everything is good with you. Okay, we're going to have an awesome service today. We're doing something different. Instead of you hearing me deliver a message, which I know they have blessed you. Right now, we're going to have a conversation. But I just want to give you a little bit of time to tune in. If God has been good to you, why don't you comment there and say, hey, God has been good to me. Give us a little heart, a little thumbs up. Give us something, okay? We've been praying for you. We've been praying for your family. We've really been praying for you as a youth, as a person, that you may continue to seek God, that you may continue to ask God for guidance, for wisdom. He cares about you. He loves you. And we're just going to have an awesome time today. On this Friday evening, okay? Today we're going to talk about a specific topic, a topic that people want to know about, people want to have conversations about, and that's on the topic of dating. Yes, dating. We're going to talk about dating. What are the do's and don'ts? What are the things that we should expect? We're going to talk about, a little bit of marriage too, and how all of that relates to God. How all of it relates to God. Now, there's no... after this conversation, I don't want you to expect that all the answers are going to be given here, that we have answers for everything, because we don't. We're human beings and we make mistakes. But I do want you to understand that we have something to offer you. We have something that we hope that you take back home, that you can think about, something that you can meditate on. If you are in that age and you're a little bit curious and you're interested and you have a question about dating, well, tune in. Yeah, give us a listen, hear us out, and I hope you take something from this. Okay? I have two special people here and right here in our little setup, and who are going to be helping me have a conversation with you. It's Jonah and Lucy. So if we can give them a big round of applause. A big round of applause. How are you guys doing? Everything good?
Everything's good. Hi, guys.
Good. Thank you, Alex.
How has this quarantine been treating you guys?
Been treating us good. We know ourselves a little
too
bit better.
A little too good.
like little pounds good.
No, the reason why I wanted to bring you guys is because I do see you guys as an example for the youth, and I see that in everything that you guys do. I feel privileged to have gotten to know you guys, and I really mean that as a friend, as a person, someone close to you guys. I am really privileged to be your friend, to be working alongside you, here at church. And I do believe that God has placed you here because He has something special, like something that He wants to use you guys, and you guys are doing just so many wonderful things, and you guys are just amazing. You guys are amazing. We're gonna cry now, and so just a little bit about them, okay? Lucy, right? Lucy, she is a teacher. And she runs her own Instagram page, Creating with Lucy.
Yes. Yes. Follow me. Just kidding.
A little, what's it called? A little shout out there to Creating with Lucy. And Jonah, too. Jonah works with us at church. He starting a podcast. He's very shy about it, but he's getting it started. Java with Jonah. I was going to Jonah with Jonah. Java with Jonah, and you guys are just amazing, okay? You guys are just really cool. So before we start, before we dig into this conversation, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you guys came to know each other? Like, how did you meet? Like, was it love at first sight? Do you remember the first time you guys laid eyes on each other?
Well, it wasn't love at first sight, but it was in a church event, something that we would do a lot. We would go to church events. And it was on this special church we were doing I believe like a vigilia. It was
right.
like a prayer night, and so I mean, since all the churches hang out, we know friends and friends know friends,
So then her cousin was my friend, and she's like, oh yeah, you know my cousin Vero, Lucy, and I was like, oh okay, nice to meet you, and then we started being friends, and then several years later, we're married.
Simple. Just simple.
Yeah. Short story.
Yeah, so I think we requested, well, I requested him on Facebook, so I kind of feel embarrassed about saying that because the guy should, or I thought, right? But I requested him, but he sent the message.
Right,
He sent me
right.
a message after.
And like, do you remember like when you guys first met? Were you guys shy with each other? Like, what were those little moments that you guys had? Like, were you like, oh my gosh, he's here. I need to, did you freak out a little bit? Were you a little bit shy around each other?
I think I was shy. I remember at the beginning, I was like, man, he talks a lot. Like, just wouldn't stop talking. And about the randomest things. Like, and I was just so shy that I would just listen to him. And half the time, I was so shy that I wasn't paying attention. But that was me.
Yeah, I guess I wasn't shy, or I mean,
You're just
'cause
straightforward.
I wasn't looking for a girlfriend. I was just looking for a friend. So I mean, I don't think I was being shy. I would talk a lot though, still do.
Well, obviously you guys are, God has. I feel like there's something special between you guys, and your marriage in a way speaks to the youth. So like when we're talking about love at first sight, and you said something interesting. You said that it wasn't love at first sight, right? And I feel like sometimes we have that picture that like once you meet that person in church, or once you meet that guy and that girl, that's like the one that God had designed for you to do. Like you're gonna know immediately, and the minute you see them, it's love at first sight. You don't think so? You guys don't think so?
I don't think it's love at first sight. I don't think there's like one specific person that you're supposed to marry. I just think like that love eventually
Right.
grows when you get to know the person,
Right.
and you working on being the person. Like it's not about meeting the one,
Right. No, I get you. And like as you guys began to, date, and you guys started to understand, okay, this is like serious. And since you guys met at church, obviously you guys, you had already known who God was, and God was already working within you. So what was something about your faith, like in each other, that you found, like, oh wow, like like attractive, and not in the sense that like what about their faith attracted you to them?
Well, when we started knowing each other more, right, we were talking, we became friends. She was a singer in her church, so she was not only a church goer, but she participated in church. So that's something that attracted me, because I like working I like working in church, serving the Lord in church, and that's something something I saw in her. So I mean, eventually, right, I would want to keep on doing that on the marriage life, which is something she does. So,
Right.
Yeah,
So when you saw her sing, you were like, amazing.
that was an angel. It was an angel.
it was an angel from heaven. So like, what about Jonah? Like, what's something that you found attractive? Like, was it like the way he worked with the youth? Was it something that you found like, okay, this guy's serious about his faith?
Yeah, I think like when we would talk, because we spent like a lot of time talking, like we didn't, like he said, like it wasn't like, oh, we're gonna date. It was kind of like we were both looking for a friendship, and I had just recently became a Christian. So just the way he would talk about God, like I remember we would just like sometimes sit in the driveway,
Right.
and he would just talk about his youth group and how God had put things in his heart, and I just think that really attracted me about him, that he was so passionate about God.
Right. As it should, like if I personally do feel that if you find someone that really loves God, and I'm not talking about they're just posting on Facebook like, hey, God loves you, and God is for you, which is cool. That's good stuff. But to actually serve alongside, let's say, the person that you like, the person that you care about, and you're serving alongside as a singer, as with the youth, as whatever God has put you, that's something that's very special,
Right.
And like in terms of standards, right? Like, did you set high standards for the other person? Like, do you think it's okay to set high standards? What do you think? Like, what expectations did you set? Like,
Yeah, so I think I'll start. Well, I think once we started like liking each other, I think the standards that we started, one of the standards that I started putting is, well, I wanted him to be I wanted him to love God.
Yeah.
Because I understood that if he loved God, like he would love me. So I think that's one of the main standards that I held up high. Like, was he one of those Christians, like you said, that you go to their bio and it says like a Bible verse, but like nada que ver when you meet him in real life?
Yeah.
Or was he really a follower like of Jesus?
Right,
yeah,
right.
I guess that's the, I mean, the main standard, or at least for me, is that she make sure she loves God first, and obviously more than me, because if she loves me more than Jesus, then there's a problem there, or I think that could be a problem, but I had to make sure that she loves God and serves
Right.
them, like, because I wanted to serve the Lord eventually, in the marriage life. So I put that standard in my life.
Right.
And I think also like for like a standard that I think is very important, like finding someone who goes to church and not just like goes to church, but like likes being at church. Like you're both in the same like, man, like can't wait to go to youth group. Like
Right.
or when we would be like, oh, there's gonna be an event or our campus coming, and we both had that like love for
Right.
that
Yeah.
event.
And you know, sometimes the youth nowadays, we tend to, let's say, I mean, not necessarily, right, not necessarily everyone, but sometimes, you know, you find people outside of church and you try to make it work, you know. And I'm not saying that it's not gonna, definitely not gonna work. I mean, sometimes God moves, and there's testimonies of church of people like that, right? But like, do you think that's a problem? Like, do you think that's something that, you know, not necessarily like an issue, but do you think that's something that people should consider when you're dating someone?
From the same church?
Like, let's say you date someone that doesn't come to church, or that they're on and off, and you're completely on.
Like church? Yeah, I mean, eventually I say the majority of the times it does become a problem, because you're not only thinking with your head like oh, these are my standards, but now you're thinking with your emotions, which is something the Bible says not to lean on your heart.
Right.
So that eventually does become a problem. So something we made sure that, or I'm sure my standards were, hey, you know what, make sure she goes to church, but like she said, not only goes, but make sure she's active in church, active in her faith.
Right.
And I think the problem, like I know there's testimonies, but I think the problem when the person you like doesn't go to church is that like you're struggling, you know, you need a push. And if you're always like, you know, like bringing the person over here and you're pulling, well, you need somebody also to maybe sometimes push you higher.
Right.
And when you're always just working on that other person, sometimes you just forget that,
Right.
hey, I was struggling with this, or I needed help in this.
Right. It's like it becomes uneven eventually, like,
It
right?
becomes uneven.
Right. No, and yeah, and do you guys think, for instance, should people have like high standards? Do you think that's okay, or should people just have okay standards? Like just coming to church is enough, like you said, or should he needs to come to church and he needs to know John 3:16 and he needs to pray and he needs to fast. Like, what do you think in terms of standards? Like, what's like okay, what's not okay? Like, what do you think?
Yeah, so I think, like, how can I say it?
Just
Like, I
there's no right or wrong.
No,
it's
no,
not
yeah, I know. I just feel like we're on a process. Obviously, I'm not going to I didn't expect him to like speak in tongues, or right?
Right.
Like, but I think one of the highest standards, like we can't lower the standard of like, well, it's because you know he's a good person, like, but does he love God? I think the standard, the highest thing that I was like, does he love God? Because if he can be an amazing singer, an amazing soccer player, but if he doesn't love God, then like you're out.
Right.
It's like you're not a candidate. So
Right.
it's kind of mine.
Yeah, standards are good. It's always good to have standards, because you don't want to, I guess, go away from your vision in the future. I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody has their plan in the future, and you want somebody who's going to accompany that or help you with that plan of yours in life. And obviously, if this person is not meeting the check marks, it's not necessarily that they're bad, but they're not part of like your vision, your plan. So it's good to have standards. Yeah.
Right. No, good stuff. So obviously you guys dated for some time. You dated for a good amount of time, and then you guys overcame challenges together. And then something inside you told you, okay, this is the person that I'm gonna marry, right? Like, when did that moment come, or how did you know that that person must say, this girl's the one, or hey, this guy's the one I'm gonna marry?
We dated for 6 years, to be exact, somewhere in six and a half.
6 years. That's
Yeah,
that's a good time.
yeah. Some people say it took too long. It's all
Some
good.
people say I was scared. I know.
Backing away. No, I guess I'm guessing for everyone is different, but for me, obviously she met the standards that I had. She loved God more than me. She served in church, but also I just didn't want to be with anybody else.
Aw, baby.
Aww.
Yeah, I mean, you just think about, because I remember we had we broke off for a certain time, and it served us good because I mean we knew what we had,
Yep.
and we knew what we wanted. So I knew what I wanted, and so we went back together. And
Right,
we
right.
married.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think I knew he was the one because I just feel like he just brought the best out of me. Like the qualities that I lacked, like patience or like, you know, like he would like bring them out in me.
Wow.
So then I was like, you know, like if he's just taking good things out of me, and obviously I'm not saying like it's perfect, right? But he really did make me a better person. Like I said, I had just become a Christian, and I was like, you know, like I want this. Like this is the kind of person I want to be with.
Right, right. So it wasn't just like the nice things that he said. It was how this person began to change you, right?
Yeah.
Right. Wow, that's actually that's very good. And I think a lot of people, a lot of youth, forget about that, because all they want to do is they find a cute guy, a cute girl, and they're like, oh, this guy is just good looking, and he has the muscles, and he has the hair, and she has like, you know, like the shape or whatever. And they see that instead of, hey, you know, has this person blessing me, this person getting the best out of me?
Yeah.
And that's very good. I'm glad that you found someone that, you know, does that for you, right? So what do you think is an important question you have to ask yourself when you think you found the one?
Does he like pizza? No, I'm just kidding.
That's the one. That's the one.
It's because I don't know. I just feel like I don't want to sound repetitive, but I just feel like the question if I'm asking myself, is he the one? Does he love God? Does he bring the best out of me? I think
Right.
that was for me.
Right, right.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing with me. I mean, just make sure she loved God. Make sure that she was active. The question, just making sure she would love me as well for the rest of my life, even though I grow old and wrinkly and might not like pizza. Yeah.
He
Let
loves pizza.
Let me ask you something. Do you guys share food? Do you share fries?
Next question.
Because I know you don't. 'Cause I know.
I don't. Next question.
You're like, next question, please, Anna. Right, right. So, yeah. So, this is like a more a general question. I think we kind of like answered it, but I'm still gonna ask. Why do you think girls or boys, you know, nowadays, end up with the wrong people?
I think people sometimes end up with the wrong people because they move too fast. You know, because at the beginning, any person you meet is going to charm you. Like it could be, you know, like a random person and they're just nice, and then you end up moving too quick and you didn't really take the time to get to know each other.
Right.
So I think it's very important for us to like take it slow. I think one of the things that I like about us is that we built a friendship. So before we were even interested in each other, like we were just trying to get to know each other. We just wanted to make new friends, and there was no intention in me, or I hope not in him either. Like it was just like we're out here being friends.
Right. You know, it's a very interesting thing because us three today, we had lunch to really talk about what we're going to talk about today, And you said something, Lucy, that really got to me. You said, I think a lot of people don't enjoy the stages of their friendship. Like, it's like you're together, enjoy your friendship. Okay, you're still friends, enjoy your friendship. You might be dating, but you're still in that friendship stage. There's gonna come a time where you're gonna be all lovey-dovey, enjoy that. There's gonna come a time when you start maturing, enjoy that. And you're right, like a lot of people just like to skip the stages because
Yeah.
they feel like, like they're done being friends and I wanna move on to the next. But I mean, part of love is patience, right? Like, wouldn't you say? Wouldn't you guys say that?
Yeah, definitely.
patience.
Yeah,
That about the stages, because then when you get, let's just say you're friends, and when you act like boyfriend and girlfriend, when you get to boyfriend and girlfriend, there's nothing to look forward because you didn't enjoy the friendship. And then when you're boyfriend and girlfriend, and if you act like you're married, once you're married, there's nothing to look forward to because it's kind of like, well, we've been acting like we're married. So I just think that we should enjoy every season that we're in, whether we're friends, we're barely getting to know each other, whether we're going out, okay, now we're married, like just enjoying
Right.
what every season brings.
Right. And in terms of boundaries, if you're with someone, right, what type of boundary should there be? And I'm not talking about, of course, I'm not talking about literally crossing and, being in sin, right? Because we know that's a boundary that you shouldn't cross, right? We know that no one here is naive in saying that, hey, but in terms, let's say you guys are trying to make it work, right? You guys are godly people, right? So what are some things, what are like the do's and don'ts? You get me? Like, what are some advice that you would give to some of the young guys and some of the young girls here that have boyfriends or girlfriends?
I'd say if you can, put all the boundaries that you can put, because, I mean, the least thing that you want to do is fail God. That's the last thing that you want to do. You don't want to mess up your relationship with God, and if you really love this person, you don't want to mess that either. So I mean, obviously the don'ts. I mean, if you have a boyfriend or girlfriend, you want to avoid those alone times, right? Those, especially at night in the dark when it gets romantic, and we all know it's just hormones. It's not much of love. So try to avoid that because like I said, you don't want to fail God.
Right.
And I mean, as much as boundaries you can put, just go ahead and put them up.
I think some of the boundaries I remember we did, like we actually like were intentional about this because we're human. And I remember we were like, okay, we're gonna hang out and we're gonna hang out with the youth. Like we're gonna be together in a group. Like, why are we gonna set ourselves up for failure when I know my weakness and he knows his weakness? So my dad actually like loved him, and my dad would be like, come on over inside and watch movies and stay late. And my dad opened the doors to that because I don't know, he really liked them. But we were like, you know what? Like we're going to set ourselves up for failure. So we were like, no movie nights alone, no late time. Like there's going to be a time for that, like let's enjoy a day at the park when it's daylight. Let's enjoy time with the youth. Let's go out to eat. Let's eat pizza. So it was kind of like setting those boundaries that when I knew my weakness and I didn't want to get to that point.
Right. I actually remember a conversation I had with you guys about this specifically. And if I recall, I remember you guys telling me that even when you were dating, and I'm not talking about 3 months into dating, no, it was like already like years into dating, you still had respect for each other. Like in the sense that you didn't, suppose you guys weren't kissing in front of everyone, you weren't holding hands, like, like let's say in the church or something. Not that holding hands is a bad thing, but like you were saying, like don't pretend like you're married, or don't pretend like you're like in a serious relationship if you're still like, you had that respect. And ever since you guys were sharing this with me, I've always admired that, because it's literally a standard that you guys are setting, and in a way it's not just, you're not just honoring each other, you're honoring God. You're honoring God through the respect that you guys have for one another. And that's a very good thing. And again, a lot of us in the youth today miss that. We miss that, and we kind of like go a little bit over, and of course it's not that it's bad or anything. It's just that Jonah was saying, like, the more boundaries you can put on each other, it's better. Not to suffocate the relationship, but hey, like, you don't want to fail God. That's the goal. It's honoring God, pleasing God. It's not saying, it's not that God is wanting to, like, you sit over here and you sit over here and you guys are just holy people. Like, no. It's, am I going to fail God through not honoring my girlfriend, through not honoring my boyfriend, right? Like, kind of like that.
Right.
No, yeah, I think what you're saying, like, it is something that, especially since we were with youth all the time, and they would probably look up to us also. So we would not be so lovey-dovey with each other because we knew that, one, we were being an inspiration to other people. Not that it's bad, but it's kind of like there will be a time for that. Like, don't
Right.
do, like we said, don't do married stuff if you're not married.
Right. Okay, and here's a good question. How has marriage changed your relationship to Jonah or to Lucy?
How has marriage changed our relationship?
Yeah.
We share food.
Now,
kind of
I
have to share
occasionally
food.
let her share of my food.
Now, something that has changed is I personally do feel like I want to better myself, spiritually as a person. Obviously, because I think she deserves it. She deserves a better me, either to treat her better or somebody she can look up to. So that's what marriage has taught me.
Aw.
And I know how to talk a little bit better.
The
Sorry.
teacher's teaching you.
What was it? Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. How has marriage changed your relationship to your spouse?
I think it is. I think it just has shown me like a lot of patience. I think like at the beginning, like I felt like love for him. Not that I don't love him. Like I was playing right now. Like I love. Like, oh my goodness. Like the feelings, the butterflies. And obviously we've just been married a year, but we were dating for like 6 years. So I feel like the butterflies, not that they went away, but I feel like I understood in my head that like, hey, I'm married to him. Like I'm gonna love him when I feel like it and when I don't feel like it. Like when I'm mad and when I'm not mad. Like I've learned to grow a love, like even when you don't, like even when you're mad, even
Right.
when you don't feel like
Right.
being happy with him.
Oh, that's good stuff. And how has marriage improved your relationship with God? You guys are like, it's too deep, Anna.
No, I mean, I think why marriage is amazing. Is an amazing thing. Obviously, it's something that God put on earth. It's actually a gift. So now that we're married, I'm not doing life by myself. I'm not trying to do life by myself, but now I have a partner, and we're both trying to do life, but also we're trying to please God together. We're serving God together, which is amazing. I mean that's how I believe how we are getting closer to God. We have our devotionals and individually. Either she sees me praying and then I get to pray, or I see her praying or reading the Bible, and then I forget, but then I see her and I remember, so I start reading the Bible, having my devotional. So I mean it's life is good.
I think I'm not like exaggerating, but I love being married. Like it's just like I miss my family and all, but being married is just like, to me, it's like amazing. And I just love that I have grown so much as a person with Jonah, because I'm accountable to him, and like we're accountable to each other. Like he sees what I do because we're together like all the time. So he tells me like, hey, like this is wrong, and you know, like let's fix this. So I feel like I'm always growing because I have somebody. Like we're always just telling each other like, hey, like we need to fix this. This was wrong. This is wrong about your attitude and stuff. And so I'm always growing because I have someone who's like with me 24/7 and just holding me accountable to God and to just everything.
Right. And is marriage what you envisioned it was going to be? Like, is there such a thing as like perfect?
So no, it's. I
You're
think
like, no. You're like-
no.
you're like, no.
I think when I thought about marriage, you know, you thought it was gonna be all roses and butterflies, but it's tough. Like it's tough living with someone who leaves the towel on the floor every day. I'm just kidding. But it's just tough. It's just tough to live with somebody who's totally different from you, but that's where like you adapt. Like you're like, okay, like we're totally different and we're becoming one. Like that's crazy. Like
Right, right. Because I think a lot of the times we have this image of it being perfect, right? We're like, it's going to be really perfect. And then when it doesn't happen, it's just, it can kind of like come crumbling down, right?
Yeah, well, I would ask. What do you personally think that perfect is? I mean, what is perfect to you? I mean, without flaws, that I don't think that exists in any marriage. But I believe our marriage is perfect because we see our flaws, and I mean, we do pick on each other, but we try to correct ourselves. We try to better ourselves, and like she was saying, marriage is tough. It can be hard, right? But it all depends on the person. Like if you want to make it hard, for example, obviously in an argument, in a fight, if I put on my pride and I don't say sorry, even though it's my fault or her fault, then I'm making it hard. But obviously, if I love God, the Bible says, right, do not sleep in your anger. And if I love God, if I love her, I'm gonna put my pride down, and I'm gonna make it easy. Or I'm gonna make our marriage easy. So I mean, marriage is not perfect, but you have to make the most out of it. I mean,
Right.
it's being married. It's a job, not a job, but you have to put effort into it.
Right.
Yeah.
you
Right.
can't guide yourself by like feeling. It's by decision. Like I already decided I was gonna marry you, and we're gonna get through this. Like we're gonna be together. It's not like, oh, today I don't feel like being here, or today I don't feel like being your wife. Like it's about the decision that we already took.
Yeah, it's like a seal, like it's done.
Yeah.
If you
It's
think,
like you're
if you,
trapped.
If
Nah,
you
just
think
kidding,
if you think you don't fight in marriages, that's
being naive. You're being naive.
Yeah, we fight for sure every week. We have arguments for sure every week. But the amazing part is that like we react and we're like, hey, you know what? We
What are
laugh
we
it
doing?
out and we're just being immature. We're being dumb. Like we know better. We know what God expects from us, and what are we doing? Let's just like laugh it out or something, and let's go eat pizza.
Because you like it. So yeah, we're running out of time. So just one more question, and this is the last question. What is something that you would say to a teenage girl or the teenage boy that's watching, that's maybe in a relationship right now? What is some advice that you would give to them?
Well, I guess I would sit them down and talk for 50 minutes. No, but I mean, obviously, what we just talked about, if you're already in a relationship or even plan to be in a relationship, I would say put your expectations, like make sure that person loves God, or talking to a boy, right? Make sure that she loves God, make sure that she serves God, make sure that she loves God more than you, obviously, and also if you really love this person, make sure to put boundaries, because like I said, you don't want to mess up, you don't want to fail God and eventually fail the person that you love.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I would say that it's very important for that person to seek God individually. Like something that we talk a lot about is, I know you guys have heard about it, it's like a triangle. Can you do a triangle? And it's kind of like we're in the corners, right? So I can't do it. So you're.
They're
never mind.
so cute. And
So it's a triangle, right? So I'm on this side and he's on this side, and the closer, and Jesus at the top. So the closer he gets to God and the closer I get to God, the closer we get together. So it's kind of like, don't seek to get closer to your boyfriend or to your girlfriend, or don't seek to find a girl or guy. Seek God, and then that's why the Bible says everything else will come after that.
Right.
And I think one more thing I want to say super quick is that you can't expect a relationship to fulfill you. Like you cannot go into a relationship expecting the other person to meet your needs, because you can't go in broken. You need to go full of knowing who your identity is in God, because He's never going to meet all my expectations, and He's going to fail me daily. So I can't put my trust in 100% in Him. I have to be made complete in Jesus.
Yeah.
And when I'm complete and He's complete, then we're not like expecting different things from each other. We know where our source comes from, which is God. So,
Right,
yeah.
right. So like Jesus is the one that can only truly fill you. Even if
Yeah.
you think you have the perfect girlfriend or boyfriend.
Yeah, like they'll
Right.
fail you sometime.
Right. Good stuff, good stuff. Well, I hope you guys took some wisdom from here. I just want to say 2 verses before we close off. Mark 10, verse 9. Therefore, what God has joined together, man must not separate. All right. So, and also 1 Corinthians 13, verses 4 through 5. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love does not envy, is not boastful, is not conceited, does not act improperly, is not selfish, is not provoked, and it does not keep records of wrongs. So, guys, I hope you took some wisdom from this. Before we close off, I would like to pray for you. I would like to really pray for the service to come to a conclusion. So if you're right there, why don't you bow your head and close your eyes? And just pray with me. Jesus, I thank you for this moment that you've done. Thank you, Father, for this Friday. Thank you for this conversation that we had. Father, I just pray right now that you may begin to input your wisdom upon that young girl, Father, that's struggling, that young boy, Father, that's really thinking, considering about dating, or maybe he's dating someone. Whoever is watching, the youth girl or the youth boy, Father, I pray that you bless them, anoint them, give them wisdom, Father, to make wise and bold decisions. But Father, teach us how to be honorable to ourselves and how to honor you, Father. Help us seek you first before we do anything else. Before we start going out and finding people, Father, help us fall in love with you more and more, because that's where our wisdom comes from and that's where the standard is. Father, help us love one another like you have loved us. In Jesus' name, Father, thank you. Amen and amen. God bless you guys. Please don't forget to tune in on Sundays. We have our services at 9 a.m. and 11:30. Okay? God bless you. Be safe. Take care. Goodbye.